Hello and welcome to Martyn Lucas Investor. My name is Sensei and I'm here for this Sunday live event. And today's event is all about the chaos in the markets. People are panicking, people are selling. And I want to give you my thoughts and opinions on it based off some facts. The death cross, what is that all about? Well, it has occurred on the charts. Is a $1 XRP coming? Critical weekly candle close, 50-day moving averages, 200-day moving averages. Well, we're going to go through them all today and give you my educated guess on what's going on in the markets. Remember, no one knows the future. No one knows if we're going to go into a severe bear market. No one knows if we're going to continue into a bull market. However, we can use the charts, we can use the data, we can use analysis to try and either be prepared for either scenario or try and understand what scenario is more likely. And that's what we will do, because that's what we do every day on the show. We navigate the markets together, so we're prepared for each and every eventuality. And we will continue to do that. And that's my promise to you, to do that in the most honest and most researched way possible. We're not like other channels. I'm not just here to sell a video. I'm not just here to cause panic. I'm not just here to make you buy. I'm not here to give financial advice. I'm not here to scam. I'm not here to sell you a course. I'm not here to sell you a crypto. I'm not here to get you to start leverage trading. I don't benefit from anything like that. I benefit when you guys trust me and understand what I'm saying and see the value in what we provide. So let's get into all that value. Let's not talk randomly anymore. Let's get into the charts. Thank you again for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. But it's time to go through what's really important. We're looking at XRP here at $2.18. Let me answer some of those questions straight away. Is a $1 XRP coming? Nobody knows. Are we ever going to see a $1 XRP again? If we're in a bear market, then yes, we probably will see a $1 XRP, and that might just be $1. It might just be above $1. But if we are in a bear market, and I do not have the answer for you, and no one in the world has the answer for you right now, are we in a bear market or not? If we are in a bear market, however, can we see a $1 XRP? Probably, maybe, most likely. So what do you do with that information? Well, you make sure that if XRP goes to $1, you don't get liquidated. If XRP goes to $1 and you like the asset, then it's on sale and you should have money to buy it up only if you like it and only if it's new risk tolerance. That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know. Are we in a bear market? Who knows? I will tell you my thoughts. I'll tell you my opinions. I'll show you the charts. But the key question is, are we in a bear market? Well, no one in the world can answer that question. Not one person in the world right now can tell the future and say, are we in a bear market or not? Are we going to go into a deep crypto winter? However, if we are going to go into that crypto winter, what do the facts say? Well, the facts say in a crypto winter, even assets like XRP will go down 90%. They can go down 90%. They won't. Sorry, I didn't mean to say will. They can very easily go down 90%. They can more easily go down 80%. They can more easily go down 70%. And there's not been a bear market where XRP hasn't gone down 70%. So if we take it from the high and go down 70%, we are looking at a $1 XRP. So there has been no bear market in history with XRP not going down 70%. At least 70%. There's been records of it going down 80%, 90%, 95%. Never has it not gone down 70%. So make the assumption if we are in a bear market, we can go to $1. Why am I telling you that? Well, we don't know if we're in a bear market and how severe the bear market would be, but it's education. The educational guess, the history shows, and the crypto market's volatility would suggest that if we are in a bear market, it can be very possible for XRP to go to $1. So now with that information, what do? We don't know if we're in a bear market. Some signs are really pointing to it now. As I've said, I'm 55% sure we're going into bear market. I'll give you my updated statistics on that. But we think we're going into a bear market, or we might be going into a bear market. Nobody knows for sure. We might already be in a bear market. If we go into bear market, we can go to $1. So are you prepared for a $1 XRP? That's the key question. If XRP goes down to $1 in the next 180 days, because that's normally when we'll bottom out in a bear market, in the next 180 days, if XRP goes down to $1, will you be buying? Will you have money to buy? Will you be liquidated? If you're going to be liquidated, then you should not be leveraged, because $1 XRP is fairly likely in a bear market. Pretty much very likely in a bear. If we are in a bear market, $1 XRP is very likely. So if you're going to get liquidated and you're leveraged, and you'll get leveraged liquidated if we go to $1, then why are you in that position? Because be careful. Number two, if you really believe in XRP and you're buying it at $3, $3.40, $2.50, $2.70, $1.50, $1.70, $2, $2.30, whatever price you were buying XRP, why did you buy XRP? What was the reason you bought XRP? Have you done enough research into why you've bought XRP? Do you know your risk tolerance? And also, if you bought it for those reasons, why would you not buy it cheaper? So if it's going to go down to $1, do you have money to buy it? And that's very different to me saying go out and buy XRP. I think most people shouldn't go out and buy XRP because it's above their risk tolerance, it's too volatile, and they'll panic buy and panic sell. But if you did buy XRP and did do your research and you like the asset, if it goes down to $1, you'll want to buy some more. So that is the key thing straight off the bat. Let me answer that question. Is a $1 XRP coming? Well, if we're in a bear market, most likely. So based off that information, do what's right for you. Are we in a bear market? I've answered this. We don't know. But what can suggest that we are? Well, we've got a few indicators that can suggest we are in a bear market. And that's why a couple of weeks ago, I came out and said we're more likely to be in a bear market. And that's why I put out that video. The next day, XRP pumped, and everyone started laughing at me and saying, you're so... I'm not going to say exactly what they said. Some people were ruder than others. Some people just said, can you explain why you said there's a bear market and XRP's pumped? Other people said, I'm very stupid. The next day, XRP pumped, I look silly. I wanted to make clear that if I'm saying that we're in a bear market does not mean we can't have 10, 20, 30, 40% pumps. In fact, we can have 50, 60% pumps and still be in a bear market. So for anyone who said the next day XRP pumped, that was a very stupid argument, because in a bear market, you have big pumps. But I did come out and say we could be heading into a bear market. Why? Well, because we've started to really look. I mean, if I go onto a clean XRP chart with nothing on it, if we go over to maybe crypto.com, what you can see here is a clear structure of lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. I will try to zoom in for you a bit more. Lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower lows, lower lows, or maybe the same low there, 3 lows there, but then it broke to a lower low, to a lower low, and are we heading into another lower low? Essentially, why do I keep saying lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower lows, lower lows, lower lows? Well, because that shows a trend towards the downside. And remember the saying, the trend is your friend. And if we continue with this trend, the trend's your friend, the trend is down, a lower high and a lower low. If you keep doing that, that equals a downtrend. And if the trend is your friend and you don't want to fight the trend, well, what does that trend equal? That trend equals a bear market, because that is a downtrend. A continued downtrend equals a bear market. Now, I think we're in a bear market, 55%. So I guess if I had to choose, what are we in, a bull market or bear market? I'd say bear market. But I'm 55% sure we're in a bear market, maybe 60% sure we're in a bear market. Is that enough for me to go out and sell all my XRP? This is me personally. This has nothing to do with you guys. This is my personal opinion. No, I'm not selling a single coin. Why? Well, because I've already... if I'm only 55 or 60% sure we're in a bear market, that 40% chance that we're in a bull market, I do not want to miss out on it. And that's my personal opinion. I bought XRP for a reason. I know what I bought. I understand the asset I bought. I understand the volatility of the assets. And I think even if we go into a bear market, in 2 years' time, 3 years' time, next bull run, I think XRP will be one of the top performing coins. This is not a binky bonk coin. This is not a number 20 cryptocurrency. This is not number 50 cryptocurrency. This isn't a random cryptocurrency which has no value behind it. This is, in my opinion, one of the best cryptocurrencies, if not the best. This is worst case scenario, the number 3 biggest cryptocurrency, the 3rd best cryptocurrency, because Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP. And best case scenario, it's number 1, in my opinion. That's my opinion. And of course, there's all the other research that goes behind why I think XRP. So I do not want to sell an asset that I think in the future will be worth $10, $50, $100. Why would I sell an asset, even if it drops 50% in value, if it can 10x, 20x, 50x? In my personal opinion, over time, why would I want to sell it? I don't want to sell it. I just want to buy more. That's my strategy. I'm not telling you that's the same. The reason that's my strategy is because I've got the risk tolerance. I don't mind if it drops. I'm not leveraged. I believe in what I hold. And even if XRP one day goes to zero, I am financially fine. So that means my risk tolerance is quite high. So for me, if we do go into a bear market, I will just buy more XRP. And how will I buy more XRP? Well, firstly, I'm not going to buy every 5-10% dip. Why? Because I'll run out of money. If you buy every 5-10% dip on a cryptocurrency, these cryptocurrencies drop 80, 90, 70, 60% from peak to trough. And if they drop 80%, that's like a 5% drop 100 times. I won't be able to afford to buy every 5% dip, and anyone who tries that will very quickly run out of money, especially when they're dealing with cryptocurrencies. So my strategy is well defined. I have a plan. It's not going to be emotional. What do? I've got set areas I buy XRP. Doesn't really matter where you set your positions as long as it's right for you. What's right for me might not be right for you, but I like to use the charts to help with that. I don't like to really use the charts for leverage trading. I don't like to use the charts for day trading. I like to use the charts for my long-term buys. That's how I use charts. That's how you be more successful with charts. And I teach you how to. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. And I teach you how to do the charts live on the show for free every day, also in the Discord. So for me, $2 is the first area I'll buy more XRP. After that, about $1.70, $1.60 will be the next area I'll buy. After that, I'll be looking around $1.50. I'll buy some more XRP, and after that, just above $1, I'll buy more XRP. Yes, I also have limit orders set up at 50 cents, 70 cents, but I'm not very confident that they will get filled. But if we do go into a severe bear market, I still have buy orders set up at 50 cents and 70 cents. I don't think that's very likely, but if we do go down to those levels, I also have money to buy it there. So I've got about 4 or 5 different buy levels, each of them about 20-30% away from each other. So my first one being at $2, the next one being at $2.70, that's about a 20% move. The next one being $1.50, that's another 20% between that. The one after that is $1, that's another 20% between that. So I'm not buying every 5% down, maybe I'm buying every 20% down. So that's my strategy. I am holding my XRP and I will buy more in a bear market. Why can I afford to do that? Well, because we got it right last cycle. If I bought in at $2, $2.30, maybe my thoughts would be different, but probably not. But the fact that we did the hard work for years and years and years. 3 years ago on this channel, 2 years ago on this channel, 4 years ago on this channel, we were talking about XRP when it first entered that bear market of 2021. As soon as I started streaming to you guys, my favorite coin was XRP. I was buying it every time it dropped below 40 cents. I was buying it at 30 cents. I bought it every time below 50 cents. And I went heavy in the altcoin season because we saw Bitcoin dominance back in November of 2024. So every time I got the chance below 50 cents, I bought XRP. That means that initial run up. And I mentioned to you guys, remember when I said, well, some of you were watching this channel, some of you weren't. I said when we went up to $3.30, be prepared for a 50% crash, even in a bull market, because that 50% crash will come. It's a matter of when, not if. And around the first time we hit that level, because we were so overbought on the RSI, because XRP went from 30 cents to $3 in about 3 months, I was expecting a crash. So I took out some of my initial position at around $3.30. I did that live on the show. I told you exactly when I was doing that. I predicted a 50% crash. I bought at $2. I sold at $2.50. I bought at $2. I sold at $2.50. I bought at $2. I sold at $2.50. I bought at $1.70 a few Fridays ago. Sold at $2.30. So within this bull market, firstly, some of my original position I sold at $3.30, and throughout the bull market, I've been trading XRP between $2 and $2.50, continuously live on the show. So I've managed to recoup my initial investment, and maybe I've made some money throughout the bull market as well. So I am in a position where my initial position out of XRP is out, and now I'm looking to buy into XRP. So maybe that's a reason I'm more bullish and I'm not very scared of selling my XRP. But in all honesty, even if I bought at $2.50, even if I bought at $3, even if I bought in the high, I don't want to be selling my XRP at 50, 60% loss. If I bought it at $3.40, if I'm buying something, I'm doing my research in it. And if I did my research into XRP at $3.40, XRP hasn't changed. Maybe the bullish narrative has changed. Maybe the sentiment has changed short term. Maybe the stock market isn't looking as bullish anymore. But the fundamentals behind the reason I bought XRP have not changed. So I would hold on to my XRP and I'll buy more. That's not me saying if you bought at $3.40 and $3 and $2.50, it's right for you to hold on. Maybe your situation is different. Maybe if XRP drops 80%, you won't be able to pay the bills. And if you can't, then you have no choice. If you're leveraged and if XRP drops 50%, you'll get liquidated. That's a terrible position to be in. So now let's look at some more charts. That's my thoughts. That's my opinions on XRP. Let's talk about some of the bearish signals. Why I'm why I'm a bit concerned and why I have been concerned for the last few weeks, and I've been airing those concerns to you guys. Bitcoin is the king of the market, whether you like it, you don't like it, you think it's a terrible coin, you think it's bad technology. Bitcoin is the king of the cryptocurrency market. So you have to keep an eye on Bitcoin. And Bitcoin really shows us, for now, maybe it will change in 5 years, 10 years, but for now, you have to respect Bitcoin, because if Bitcoin's in a bull market, XRP is in a bull market. If Bitcoin's in a bear market, XRP is in a bear market. I'll come on to all your questions. I'll answer all your questions in a second. Make sure if you are watching, you do please hit the like button and subscribe. Straight after this, we're going over to our Electrum event. That's our YouTube members that are Electrum and above. We're going to be doing a quiz. We're going to be giving away prizes. We're going to be doing we're going to be doing that trivia event that we do on Sundays with our Electrum members. We're going to be answering your chart requests and all that sort of stuff with our VIP members over at Electrum. If you want to become an Electrum member, I'll give you the link in the live chat now. We are also giving away $2,000 worth of XRP live on the show. So whether we're in a bear market or in a bull market, it doesn't matter. It's $2,000 worth of XRP. So that's not going to be changing. XRP is going down. It's still going to be $2,000 worth of XRP. You can choose whether you sell it for cash, hold on, or whatever. But it's free to enter, free for all. I'll give you more information about that. And of course, someone sponsoring this giveaway is Charlotte May Weddings. So if you ever need, if you are looking to get married in a lovely location, well, Charlotte May Weddings and events do it in Greece and south of Spain. So do check out Charlotte May Weddings. That is their website, charlottemayweddings.co.uk. I'll give you more information on how you can actually win $2,000 worth of XRP by visiting that website and their YouTube channel. I'll give you their YouTube channel. Go and subscribe to it as well. For a chance to win $2,000, you have to validate that on the giveaway page. But there is their YouTube channel. Go and subscribe to it. Also, go and check out their website. Okay, let me come back to the charts. Bitcoin is now currently, we've been tracking the 50-day moving average, and it's currently underneath it. This is concerning. Why? Well, because this moving average acts as a real support for Bitcoin during a bull market. It's sort of, if you're above it, you're in a bull market, you're below it, you're in a bear market. That's the general gist of it. Of course, it doesn't have to be that way, but it normally works. Nothing is set in stone. No one knows 100% are we in a bull market or bear market. There's indicators we can use. There's charts we can look at. Nothing's 100%. But when things start lining up, it's painting a picture. Bitcoin is below the 50-week moving average. And if you don't believe me, well, have a look at this chart when I say when Bitcoin's above it, you're in a bull market. When you're below it, you're in a bear market. If you look at this chart, for the duration of this bull market, ever since we went past 23,000 and came out that bear market, we tested at support at 24,000, we tested at support at 52,000, we tested at support at 77,000, and now we're breaking below it. So you can very easily see, if you're looking at the screen right now, we are looking at a trend line, which is essentially the moving average below it. And every time we've touched that, it's acted as support. That's the 50-week moving average. And if you look at previous bear markets, you fell below it, you tested it as resistance, and you stayed below it, and you were in a bear market. Previous bull markets, you stayed above it, you were in a bull market. So etc, etc. You can see that we are now below it. If we close a weekly candle below it, then we are officially some would say in a bear market, because they would use this as their pure indicator. A few things I would look at whether we're in a bear market. One would be if we've had at least a 20% drop. Yes, we've had at least a 20% drop. That's how you look at a bear market. In the stock market, in the crypto market, you're really looking at 40-30% drop. But at that point, it might be too late. Normally, when you call a bear market, you look back on it and say that was a bear market. So not many people have ever called a bear market. They always look back on it and say we were in a bear market. We've been saying for the last few weeks, well, actually for the last, ever since Bitcoin double top, we said this could be the start of the bear market. If you actually go back to the videos I made around the 6th of October when Bitcoin went up to 124,000, I said, be very careful. This could be the double top. I'm happy to play that clips if no one believes me. Go back to that live show where we covered the all-time high, and I said, guys, we are excited about this all-time high. However, this does create the fact of, are we creating a double top? We drew the trend line, we showed you that, and we've essentially been saying we could be the start of the bear market from about 4 weeks ago. At all-time highs, we might have called the bear market. But anyway, that's not the point. It's not about calling it, getting it right. It's about being prepared for it. So a few things you want to look at. 30-40% drop to call it a bear market, but at that point it's too late. Are you below the 50-week moving average? Well, now you are. Are you going to close the weekly candle close? Is the weekly candle going to be below it? Well, the weekly candle closes in about 2 hours, and you're well below it right now. We would need about an 11% rally in the last 2 hours of trading. That's probably not going to happen. If we get 2 of these weekly candles below this, then again, that increases the chance we're in a bear market. So that's not looking good. Also, we've just had a death cross. So if I bring you some more moving averages, in fact, let me go over to comments and I'll show you this. I'll find it over here on this chart software we have from Into the Cryptoverse. So if I go over to charts, I will bring you the death cross. So the death cross is another 2 moving averages, the 50-day and the 200-day. When they cross in the charting community, in the charting world, this has been going on for years, we'll call that a death cross. And now I'm going to tell you a bit more about death crosses, previous death crosses, the data behind the death cross. But essentially, if you look at what's just, if I just go back, if I reset the zoom and just show you what's happened today, you see that cross over there on the right hand side of the screen. This is the 50-day moving average crossing with the 200-day moving average. It's and it's when the 50-day goes, the 50 days trending down, 200 days trending up, and when they cross, that's essentially a death cross. So you might be hearing that term all around crypto Twitter. Does it actually mean anything though? Is it a lagging indicator? Well, maybe. I'll show you all previous times as well. So if I just zoom in from every golden cross and death cross, golden cross is the opposite, same moving averages, just crossing in the other way. You can see here we had a death cross back in September of 2023. We didn't go down. We had a golden cross. We did go up. We had a death cross. We went down a little bit. We had a golden cross. We did go up. We had a death cross. It marked the bottom in 2025. We had a golden cross. We went up a little bit more. So let's now look at every single death cross and the data. It's not as big of a deal. It's not a bear market indicator really, because the data is very much mixed. So here is the data after Bitcoin had a death cross. The reason we're looking at Bitcoin, and you might say, well, we care about XRP. Well, remember, as I said, Bitcoin is the king. If Bitcoin goes into a bear market, XRP will go into a bear market. If Bitcoin is in a bull market, XRP is most likely also in a bull market. So that's why we're looking at Bitcoin. This is a chart that shows you Bitcoin after a death cross, when the 50-day moving average falls below the 200-day moving average. I'm just reading a question. Hi, Sensor. Maybe a silly question, but do calls and puts exist for crypto? I know some people protect their position with puts, sometimes in the stock market, so I wondered if it's possible for crypto. Yeah, there is put options, call options for crypto. Would I recommend people go out and buy put options to protect against their spot position of crypto? Well, for most beginner investors, for not even beginner investors, for most normal retail traders, for most people watching this channel, even for someone like me, I wouldn't even look into that strategy, because there's a lot you need to learn before you start doing put and call options. But the question was, does it exist for crypto? Yes, it does. Is that a way some people hedge their portfolio? They put a put, essentially betting against the market, so that when their spot position goes up, or sorry, goes down, that they're making money one way, hedging against the portfolio. Yes, it does exist. Some people do it. For someone who doesn't know anything or knows very little about put and call options, you'll probably end up losing money. So yes, does it exist? Would I recommend it for most people? No. Do I do it myself? No. Also in the UK, it's very hard to do put and call options now because of the regulations. So yeah, this is Bitcoin after a death cross. This is all the data about it. So to just show you some of the averages all the way from 2014. 1 week later, actually, the average was you were higher. 2 weeks later, you were higher. 3 weeks later, you were higher. 1 month later, you were higher. 2 months later, you were higher. 3 months later, you were higher. 6 months later, you were higher. 9 months later, you were higher. 1 year later, you were higher. So, on average, you were higher. Well, that's also mainly because Bitcoin has trended up over the years. So let's just break down some of those statistics and taking those numbers. So the key takeaways of every time there's been a Bitcoin death cross, because you're going to see that all over X, you're going to see that all over YouTube. People are going to try and scare you. People are going to try and get you for clicks. But what does it actually mean? Does it predict the future, a death cross? Well, short term, actually, it's not really a bearish signal. The first 1 to 4 weeks after a death cross show no reliable downside pattern. There is no real there's nothing really to back up the fact that a death cross causes a downtrend in the first 1 to 4 weeks. Normally, you'll see the price be choppy to the sideways, driven by sentiment and noise rather than any trend. Medium term after a death cross, you would think a death cross would mean you go down, but actually, strongest upside bias. So the 60 to 90 day window is historically the most positive. Bitcoin often sees meaningful rebounds within 2 to 3 months as selling pressure fades. So essentially what it's saying is a death cross comes because it's a lagging indicator. It is a lagging indicator. It's looking back and waiting for the moving averages to catch up. So it is a lagging indicator. And essentially what happens is Bitcoin goes down, you get a death cross, you're oversold, leverage gets wiped out, people buy in, and you actually go up. So a death cross doesn't support the argument for a bear market. Long term, what does it mean over 90 days later? Well, 6 to 12 months after you get 12 months, the outcome splits into two extremes. You either get large rallies or a deep bear continuation. Normally, it just means you're going to get volatility, and normally, bear market, bull market, does a death cross predict it? Not really, and there's not a real significant bias. Very few results fall in the middle. One thing that the trends show you, the data shows you, is not that you're going to go into a bull market or you're going to go into a bear market or the next few weeks you're going to go up or down. Maybe 60, 90 days you're going to go up because of the fact that it's a lagging indicator and you might have a rebound. So there's two things that shows you. One is 60 to 90 days later, Bitcoin will go up. That means XRP might go up. That's the data shows that 60 to 90 days after you get death cross, instead of going down, you actually go up. Why? Well, the reasons behind that is probably because everyone goes bearish, people get liquidated, and then people start going bearish and people start shorting the market. So the market punishes the shorters, and then you actually get a rebound because you get a short squeeze. So that's one thing that the data suggests. Again, not guaranteed. The other thing the data suggests and the data shows is we don't know whether it's going to be a bear market or a bull market. However, every time after, or most times after a death cross, 12 months later, you're either in a bear market, in the midst of a bear market, or you're in the midst of a bull market. You're very unlikely to just be going sideways 12 months after you get, or 6 to 12 months after you get a bear market. So does that really help us? Not really. Well, two things you can take away from that is just because you see a death cross, don't go short, because most people do that and then they get wiped out. Other thing is a death cross doesn't equal a bear market. So if you see a death cross, you don't just listen to everyone who has the headline and it means sell your position, because a death cross doesn't actually signify if you go into a bull market or bear market. The next thing is be prepared for volatility over the next 6 to 12 months, whether it's severe upside or severe downside, because 12 months after a death cross, you're either in quite a big bull market or you're in a very deep bear market. Very few of the times that you've had a death cross, 6 to 12 months later, have you just been sideways. It's going to go one way or another, so be prepared for the upside, be prepared for the downside. Some of Bitcoin's biggest rallies started after a death cross. Remember that as well. 2015, 2020, 2023, where major upsides followed shortly after the cross. Historically, these events align with later stage fear, not the start of new downtrends. Normally, at the end of a bear market, when you get that capitulation, you then see the rally. We're not at the end of a bear market right now, so that doesn't really apply to us now. So what do you expect in the next 1 to 4 weeks? Just expect a lot of noise, but no clear. Just expect noise, because over the next 1 to 4 weeks, it's going to be volatile. People are going to start using this death cross as a reason to predict bear markets. We predicted the bear market. Well, we said this could be the start of the bear market when Bitcoin double topped at 130,000 or whatever that price was, and also over the last few weeks, trending that way. But am I calling a bear market? Am I 100% sure? No. Am I prepared for a bear market? Yes. Am I prepared for a bull market? Yes. So the next 1 to 4 weeks, expect volatility, expect a lot of noise. 60 to 90 days from now, statistically, the strongest window. History shows that in 60 to 90 days from now, you could actually be up on Bitcoin because of the short squeeze, because everyone turns bearish. Remember, the market likes to punish both sides. So if the market's going short and if the market is bearish and everyone is shorting the market, well, the market will want to punish the shorters and you'll get that rally. Potentially, again, not guaranteed. It's just what the data is showing. Has happened previously doesn't mean it has to happen in the future. And then remember, in 6 to 12 months, we're either going to be, well, the data shows that previously 6 to 12 months after death cross, we're either in a very good bull market or in a very deep bear market. Not much of the data shows that 6 to 12 months later after death cross, we're just sideways. So be prepared for that bull market and bear market. So I want to bring that to your attention, even though it doesn't really show us are we going to be in a bull market, bear market. It gives us some insights. I was going to be talking about it. 60 to 90 days, the data shows we might have a short squeeze and actually go up. 6 to 12 months, it's going to be volatile. Whether we're in a bull market or bear market, be prepared for both. That's the death cross that I wanted to tell you about. But yes, we've got a lot of fear. Bitcoin can go down. The next solid level of support for Bitcoin, well, you've broken the uptrend. So the next solid level of support for Bitcoin could be very much near 73,000. So 85,000, 73,000 Bitcoin, that could be well on our way. XRP, obviously, the big support is $2. The next one is really $1.70. And we're probably entering a bearish couple weeks, in my opinion. And then are we going to continue with a bull market? It's looking less and less likely. Are we going to see a $10 XRP? Well, I came out and told you that a few weeks ago that no, we're definitely not. Are we going to see a $5 XRP? Well, we'll be lucky to see a $5 XRP. This year is probably, again, very unlikely to happen. We got the ETF, very bullish. The numbers were amazing. It was actually, I don't know if I've streamed since. I apologize for not streaming on Friday. We had internet issues. The data shows that it was the most successful ETF launch of this year. We're not just talking about crypto. We're not just comparing it to H Barcelona. We're talking about the whole ETF world. This year, XRP's ETF was the strongest, the most volume, which shows institutions are very interested in XRP. The inflows were massive, and I think in a bear market, a lot more accumulation will happen because of that ETF. So I'm long-term bullish on it and still holding my XRP. That's my thoughts. That's my opinions. We're going to go over to an Electrum event. If you did enjoy the video, there will be the. I think we're back. I apologize. Okay, I think we're back. Anyway, I have no idea what's going on. I think we're back. We're going to go over to an Electrum event. I'm going to read some of your comments as well now, and then we're going to answer all Electrum members' comments. There are VIP members. Do check out Electrum. You get all the perks of bronze, all the perks of silver, and then all the new perks of Electrum. It's our newest VIP membership, so do go check it out. Join me right after this for that. It's a very small group of us, so we can answer every single question, do some chart requests, do the trivia, give out some prizes as well throughout it. There is the link for the membership. Go check it out. I'm going to try and press this button so I can look at your comments. If it does stop for a second, stay with me. Let me have a look at your comments. Okay, brilliant. We're still here. Let's have a look at your comments. Let me just make sure the Electrum timing is fine. Now I'm going to have to change the time of the Electrum event. We're already gone over time on this event. So that will start in 5 minutes. Okay. I think we're good. Sandra John says, "Good Sunday show, Sensei. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I bought 1,000 more coins today. RB, congratulations to you." XRP dude, Sensei Canary had a 200 million market cap, and upcoming Franklin Templeton has more than a trillion market cap. You don't think it can move the? No, 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 no. That has absolutely not. The market cap of the company behind the XRP ETF has nothing to do with how much XRP will go up. So yeah, the X trolls, the YouTubers will tell you about how big Franklin Templeton is and how big of a company they are, but has nothing to do with how much money will flow into XRP. That's just the size of the company, and they want to make more money by having an XRP ETF because they'll make money from the fees. They're not putting any money really into it. It's just whoever buys the ETF, they have to go out and buy the XRP. So it doesn't really have anything to do with what company with what market cap pushing it to $10. Even when they come out with their ETFs, there will be no $10 XRP this year. That was very helpful. Thank you so much. Stepping into Grace. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, let me know. I really do love the comments when you guys say it's helpful because so much bad information out there, and I'm just trying to do the right thing and try and make it as clear as possible. HB4 Shields is a $2.07 the bottom for XRP. No one will know if it's the bottom or not. Most likely 207 is not the bottom. Yes, I know what you're talking about. If you last week or 2 weeks ago went to 207 and then we popped up. In fact, I thought we would go down to $2. We only went down to 207. So no, I don't think 207 is the bottom. Can it be the bottom? Yes. Is it likely? Probably not very likely that 207 is the bottom for XRP. Brian says, "Calm show." Thank you. Is anyone going to become an Electrum member during this show? Essentially, as I said, we don't have any sponsors. We don't take money from big crypto companies. Martyn turns down $30,000 deals because we're fan funded. And if you become an Electrum event, it supports the show more and you get so many more perks and benefits. I want to see if anyone new will join our trivia night literally in 3 minutes. We've got 3 minutes to join. Is anyone going to join, either upgrade to Electrum or become a new member and go straight to Electrum? Is there going to be one person that does that? There is a link. We've got a couple minutes. Thank you, Sensei. Thank you, Andrew. If you bought XRPC as well, as I did, think of it as long term as well. It will be a few years before you see the results of this one. Yeah, I mean, I think XRP's next. I think in the next 5 years, XRP will be past $10. I look at my XRP long term. If there's very easy short term trades, like in a bull market, buying at $2 and selling at $2.50 continuously, and not worrying if I end up buying at $2 and it goes down because I'm long term bullish, then I'm going to do those trades. If we have a sudden liquidation event and XRP goes down to $1.75 on a Friday evening, and I've got limit orders set up, I'm gonna 2x leverage. I'm happy if I lost all my money. However, a situation like that, it comes every bull market. I've warned you about that situation every bull market. It went down to $1.70. I bought XRP at 2x leverage. I sold it at $2.40. I made some money. Brilliant. So there is times where I look at it short term and say the money's in front of me. I'll try my best to take it. So I do it, but also knowing that I could lose my money if I'm leverage trading. Also, if I'm spot trading, worst case scenario, I hold on to my XRP long term. So I do think of a long term, but I also see short term trades as well. 90% of my portfolio is long term. The charts are the charts. I sold to buy back lower. Long term holders, close your eyes and come back. Oh, I don't agree with that. Long term holders, close your eyes and come back. I think I should be open. I think you shouldn't suddenly open your portfolio and be horrified in a bear market. I think you should open your portfolio and have a plan and understand it. And if you believed in it and you have money, you buy more. If you don't believe it, you shouldn't be holding it. I think you should understand what's going on in the markets. I think we should navigate the markets together and keep each other accountable. What do you think XRP will hit before it goes down? $2.30 is very comfortably what hit. It can easily hit $2.50. Look, again, this video today, I'm not predicting a bear market. I don't know. I don't have enough information. We haven't broken $1.70. If we break $1.70 for XRP, I'll predict a bear market. If we have 2 weeks below 100,000, I'll be more likely to say to increase my likelihood of a bear market. Right now, 3 weeks ago, when we had that double top on Bitcoin, I was 50-50 bear market, bull market. When we had 3 weeks ago, I went 55% bear market. Today, maybe I'm saying 60% bear market, 57% bear market. It's not enough for me to come out and say, I think we're in a bear market. The more the signs are, probably the lower the price we are. However, the more likely we're in a bear market. The point isn't me coming out here saying we're in a bear market. We could very easily bottom out at $2. Bitcoin bottoms out at 80,000, just goes on a short-term downtrend, goes to 80,000, and then we actually see 150,000 in the first couple quarters of 2026. Look, I'm not coming out and saying we're in a bear market. I don't know. I'm just prepared for all scenarios, and we'll navigate the market every day. Sometimes, like in a bear market where we're at 30 cents, 40 cents for XRP, I was very confident that we're near the bottom. Sometimes, like in 2021, we're very confident where the top was. And sometimes we're in a situation like this. Are we in a bull market? Are we in a bear market? Who knows? Just be prepared for both scenarios. It's less about knowing which one you're in and more benefiting from a bear market and benefiting from a bull market. Are we going to keep holding and buying more XRP? I bought some earlier today. Yeah, what's the poll? Let's close the poll. Let's see your comments. This is crazy. This is amazing. You look at this poll and you can hear it all. Are you buying or selling XRP? Buying now, 31%. Just holding what I have, 31%. Waiting to buy back low, 27%. 11% selling. Well, I'm glad. The selling will come when we're in capitulation. When XRP suddenly crashes 50%, a lot of people will be selling. I'm not going to. That's when people panic sell. That's just a psychology of investing. That's the worst time to sell. Most people will sell there. So I'm not surprised only 11% of people are selling. What I am surprised about is 31% of people buying, because when we were at $3 and we went from $2 to $3.40, when we did a poll back then about are you buying, selling, about 80% of people were buying above $3. Those people that are buying above $3 are not buying today when it's 50% or 30% cheaper. People didn't know what they were buying, and unfortunately, that's how it goes. So people like to FOMO in and people like to panic sell. We're not at the panic stage yet, but it's interesting that not more people are buying. I'm not saying it's a great time to buy, but the poll is certainly interesting. Well done, Sensei. I think oversold will do it by itself. Is XRP oversold right now? No, it's nowhere near being oversold right now on the weekly time frame. I don't know if that was a question, but it just reminded me to look at that. I'm still holding my oil, MTDR, ONX shares. Good luck to you, Steven Lewandowski. One person hasn't become an lecturer. I'm sure there's one person who wants to come to our trivia night literally in 2 minutes' time. That's where we're going in 2 minutes' time. There is the link. Do you think XRP will go down below $1? If we're in a bet, do I think XRP will go below $1? I think it will go over to around $1. Does it really matter if it's below $1 or slightly above $1? If we're in a bear market right now, a proper crypto winter, then and we topped out $3.60, 70%, 75%, 80% drawdown, we're looking around $1, whether it's slightly below it or slightly above it. Will it go back under $1? If we're in a bear market already, then potentially, yeah. It doesn't really. We might be just above $1. We might be just slightly below it. We might be very below it. We might be at 50 cents, or we might be very above it, $1.50. Depends how bad of a bear market and if we're in a bear market. Definitely be prepared for under $1, but don't hold your breath for it. When I speak for myself, I don't have a lot left to invest. Well, it could be in 12 months' time. Let's see if we can earn some money before 12 months. Okay. If it goes to $1, I will buy a ton. If it goes to $1, I will buy a ton. There you go. You know, it's always great. Set your limit orders now. When are you going to buy? What levels? When are you going to sell? Have an idea before you get emotional and before it gets too volatile to make the decision on the day. MSK is here. Lovely to have you here, MSK. I'll go to sleep before. Interesting. Just heard a notification, but I have no idea where it came from. Strange. I went long a lifetime ago. I don't know what you mean. You're long on XRP? Is that what you mean? Susan says XRP. HB4 says there is so much noise going on in the markets. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Maybe my tomatoes will grow. I'm on the edge of buying a full Bitcoin. This is fun. I need to go back and watch Martyn's stream because I know Martyn was live earlier, but I don't know whether Martyn. I know he wasn't saying he wasn't. We never say we're 100% sure if it's going up or down, but I don't know whether Martyn was bearish or bullish earlier. I thought he was bearish, and now Martyn's talking about buying a full Bitcoin. I have no idea what Martyn does, but he certainly makes the money. So Martyn is live in the chat. Lovely to have you here, Martyn. Buying a full Bitcoin. That's $94,000 today. Should Martyn buy a full Bitcoin? Let him know in the chat. I transferred some Zcash a week and made some back. Jerry says, "What's the chance of a Fed cut?" Just saw a post saying the Fed watch saying there's a 0%. That's not right, Jerry. I'll show you right now. I imagine it'll be around 80%. Let's have a look. I haven't looked in the last 2 months since the last FOMC. The next one's in 23 days, and the chance of a cut is what's our rate now? 3 times. Oh, the chance of a cut is 44%. It's come down. It's certainly come down a lot. I apologize. There's something going on with our streaming software that is causing a break in service. So just to answer your question, there is definitely not a 0% chance of a cut. There is a 44% chance. 44% chance. That's down from about 70-80% about 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago. It's gone down, but it's definitely not near zero. Jamie says bear market, maybe you can get 2 or 3. 2 or 3. 2 or 3. Oh, right. 2 or 3 Bitcoin. I think Martyn can get 2 or 3 Bitcoin today. I think wow, Martyn says, Andrew, woohoo, buy a Bitcoin. He gets it later, he says. I'm saving everything for Bitcoin when it goes down to 30,000. Ooh. Could Bitcoin hit 30,000? 100k, 140, we went to 130. Probably not. I don't know. Martyn has no idea what he's doing in the crypto market, says Brian. Martyn says, I'm not as much concerned by the chart, but very focused on Trump promoting crypto while selling his own coin and buying bonds. Thank you, Martyn. RB says, in other words, take a dirt nap before I sell my XRP. We need to go to our Electrum event because our Electrum members are waiting. Let me see if I can just update the time. Okay. The Electrum event will start in 10 minutes. 10 minutes into the Electrum event starts. I want to answer all your questions here as well. We'll actually go over to members only mode on the... Actually, we'll keep it here and then we'll go over to our Electrum members. Manipulation on steroids says, Martyn, I sold everything 5 weeks ago. Glad I did. Congratulations, Troy. That was probably around the same time Martyn sold his crypto. Josh Monroe says, don't do it. Maybe half a Bitcoin. Brian says, yes, I agree. Manipulation big time. Amano Salt says, 84,000 Bitcoin will still be a great price to buy and wait for a relief rally. I don't think Martyn will. I don't know. I can't imagine if Martyn will buy 1 Bitcoin. It'll be quite a video if he does. Stelio says, what is going wrong with XLM? It's not about XLM, it's about the crypto market. Bitcoin goes down, that will go down as well. There's no point. There's nothing wrong with XLM by itself. It's just an altcoin and it's more volatile than Bitcoin. If Bitcoin drops, that will drop more. I own XRP and XLM, says DJ Lee. Martyn says, I'm sorry, Brian, I bought XRP at 83 cents, made a good profit. Martyn says, also sold at top. I warned of all this. Brian says, hi, Martyn. Curious says, I can say all are lost if we've been see Bitcoin at 90k, be happy. I don't know what that actually means. Brian says, good to talk. HB4 says, buy Bitcoin, what could go wrong? Do it, Martyn. Martyn says, Brian, my portfolio is constantly hitting all-time highs, but you can't say I don't know. But you say I don't know what I'm talking about. Who knows what's true and what's not true? Brian says, I did. I think Brian and Martyn are having a conversation. Stephen says, hi, Martyn and Leah. Bitcoin says, damn late start for careers, not going to have time to be in it. We'll run out of time to get ready for work. I'll listen in instead. Bitcoins, Craig, we'll blast through it. Stay, let's do it. Make sure you're part of the Electrum event. Okay, we're going over now. Electrum event, we need to get it started. Electrum members we need to get the trivia started. If you just tuned into the video now, go back to the beginning. We spoke about bear market. We spoke about what you're going to hear on YouTube this week about the death cross. We gave you the facts. We told you about the moving averages. I gave you my updated thoughts on the bear market. I told you what I'll do. I told you about $1 XRP. If you just tuned in, go back to the beginning. If you haven't tuned into our Electrum events, upgrade now. Enjoy it for a night. If you don't like it, leave. But we're going over to that now. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Until next time. Electrum event members, I'll be live in literally 2 minutes with the start of the Electrum event. Stay where you are. Anyone who's tuned in late to the show, go back to the beginning. Join me on the Electrum event as well if you're not already an Electrum member. Until next time, take care of yourself. See you tomorrow morning. Get ready for the newsletter. Here is the newsletter link if you don't already have it. That's a free trial for a week. Lots of great updates coming to newsletter. I'm sure you're going to love it. Newsletter will come out tomorrow. Then we'll be back with our morning forecast show with 2 hours before the opening bell. I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. The market's going to open up. We're going to have the weekly candle close and we can analyze it all a bit further. Until next time.